This is the story of a young woman for whom a dream job turned into a tragedy. She mysteriously disappeared from a Disney cruise liner, and this mystery has remained unsolved for 10 years. The girl's parents are convinced that something terrible happened to their daughter, and that the ship's management is hiding a grim truth, offering absurd theories about her disappearance. Today, we will examine all available information and try to answer the main question: was the girl murdered, and is Disney covering for those responsible? This is the story of Rebecca Coriam. The young woman was born on March 11, 1987, in England, and had dreamed of working on a cruise liner since childhood. In June 2010, she went to London for an interview with Disney and landed a position as a youth animator aboard the massive liner, the Disney Wonder. This grand vessel is more like a giant hotel with all the amenities for rest and leisure. It is 294 meters long and can accommodate 2,500 passengers and nearly 1,000 crew members. Not everyone can afford a trip on it. A current 8-day journey costs $2,000 per person for the most budget-friendly option with a windowless cabin. Those wishing to travel in maximum comfort must pay almost $7,000. However, none of these costs concerned Rebecca. After a 4-month training period, the young woman finally set off on her first cruise. The liner sailed from Los Angeles, along the Mexican Riviera, and through the Panama Canal. After this, Rebecca received sad news from home. Her grandfather had passed away. She had to return to England for a week. She continued to keep in touch with her parents via Facebook and Skype. 6 weeks later, on March 21, 2011, Rebecca sent a final message to her family, promising to call the next day. But she never did. Her worried mother wrote to her on Facebook, but the girl never came online. At 9 a.m. Pacific time, the absence of a crew member was immediately noticed. To their surprise, the girl was nowhere to be found. They checked her cabin and then searched the entire liner. They tried to page her through the ship's announcement system, but that yielded no results. Security personnel then began reviewing camera footage, which is where they found their first lead. On one of the videos, Rebecca was seen in a crew area, talking on an internal phone. The footage clearly showed that she was very distressed about something. During the conversation, a man approached Rebecca and asked if she was concerned okay. She replied that she was strained fine, then hung up and walked out of the camera's view. Her subsequent movements on the liner are unknown. Realizing that they wouldn't be able to find the girl on board, the ship's management contacted the United States Coast Guard and the Mexican Navy. And this is where things get strange. The liner continued on its regular route despite a person being missing. Furthermore, the Naval and Coast Guard teams were given incorrect coordinates. 3 days after the girl's disappearance, the captain contacted the police in the Bahamas to request an investigation, as the ship was registered in that jurisdiction. Here, another problem arose in solving the mystery. The Bahamas is a very corrupt country, so an objective and thorough investigation was unlikely from the start. And so, it proved. A Bahamian investigator was flown to the liner by helicopter. His investigation lasted only half a day. Out of 950 crew members, he interviewed only 6. He didn't ask a single question to any of the 2,000 passengers. Afterward, he calmly got back in the helicopter and went home, forgetting about the case. Meanwhile, her worried parents were beside themselves. They decided to travel from England to Mexico to meet the ship in port. According to them, Disney representatives did everything they could to hide their presence from the passengers. They were brought to the liner in a car with tinted windows and led on board through a service entrance only after all other passengers had disembarked. The captain of the Wonder met with them and expressed his condolences. He also offered his theory of what happened. In his opinion, Rebecca was washed overboard by a large wave while she was in the crew pool. Let's pause on this point and look at the pool. As we can see, the captain's theory seems simply impossible. Even setting aside the fact that the pool is surrounded by high walls and is a considerable distance from the ship's edge, the question remains. For a wave to reach the pool, it would have to be about 10 meters high. Yet on that day, the water was perfectly calm. Multiple data sources indicate that the sea was still. Naturally, the parents were not satisfied with this version. However, Disney firmly insisted that their daughter had an accident. 6 months later, journalist John Ronson traveled on the Wonder to conduct his own investigation. He told no one of his plans, pretending to be an ordinary tourist. After speaking with crew members, he uncovered several disturbing facts. According to employees, the management knew exactly what had happened to the girl, but the crew was apparently afraid to tell the truth. Some noted that Rebecca could not have disappeared without a trace, bypassing hundreds of cameras. Employees who wished to remain anonymous suggested that the company had recordings that would reveal the girl's fate. Most crew members, in conversation with the journalist, stuck to the version that Rebecca was indeed washed overboard. One of them noted that the sea was rough that day and such an incident could have indeed occurred. From his conversations with the crew, Ronson also learned that a single flip-flop was found on the deck after the girl's disappearance. One of Rebecca's friends offered her own version. According to her, Rebecca was in a romantic relationship with a certain crew member, and their relationship was very strained right before her disappearance. According to this version, in the last camera footage, Rebecca was talking on the phone with her boyfriend. The employee concluded by saying that she also believed Rebecca's disappearance was an accident. In her opinion, the girl was upset after another argument with her lover and went to the crew pool to relax. She did not believe the theory of a giant wave capable of washing a person overboard. She suggested that Rebecca might have sat on the wide railing and accidentally fallen off. As for Rebecca's last call, some crew members asserted that it was recorded, but Disney does not want to disclose the content of the conversation. Perhaps the truth about the girl's disappearance would deal a serious blow to the company's reputation. Regarding the flip-flop found near the pool, its connection to the case becomes increasingly doubtful as the investigation proceeds. The girl's parents said it was too small for their daughter. No crew member could recall ever seeing her wear them. And in 2016, private investigators stated that the flip-flops belonged to another crew member. Ronson wrote an article about his investigation for The Guardian. The captain's version remained unconvincing to him. Rebecca's father hired a private detective, a former Scotland Yard officer. After conducting his own investigation, he declared the captain's version to be completely baseless. The sea was calm at the time. A giant wave could not have simply appeared out of nowhere. He also confirmed that the height of the deck walls would not have allowed a person to be washed away. The detective studied the video recording. In his opinion, the tape was intentionally cut to hide the time and location stamp. There was another strange thing about this recording. The clothes Rebecca was wearing seemed too large for her. This could indicate they belonged to someone else, most likely a man. Given that Rebecca was a British citizen, local politicians tried everything to help with the investigation. They continued to state the absurdity of Disney's version and believe the company is hiding the truth. Some do not rule out that the Bahamian police were bribed to drop a full investigation. Unfortunately, their powers were limited by international law, and they were unable to take any significant steps in investigating this incident. Only after Rebecca's disappearance did British politicians begin to talk about passing a law that would allow them to investigate the disappearance of their citizens in international waters. With the support of the British authorities, Rebecca's parents sued Disney. They demanded the disclosure of all available information about their daughter's disappearance. The lawsuit concluded in 2015, with the parties reaching a settlement. Disney paid the parents an undisclosed sum of money. No other details of the case were released. The parents also agreed not to publicly discuss the investigation into Rebecca's disappearance. It is possible that Disney did reveal the truth about their daughter's fate to them under a non-disclosure agreement. Based on all the information above, several theories can be outlined about what happened to Rebecca. The theory of a giant wave throwing the girl from the pool can be dismissed due to its complete implausibility. The theory that Rebecca might have accidentally fallen overboard due to carelessness also seems weak. She had been working on the ship for some time and would have been well aware of the danger. The theory that Rebecca might have been kidnapped is also considered. After her disappearance, the ship continued its journey, and no one searched all the cabins. It's possible she was held on the liner the whole time and later put ashore in Mexico. But the most obvious theory is that Rebecca died on the ship at the hands of a passenger or crew member, after which she was thrown overboard. This version best explains why Disney is so afraid for its reputation. The only question is what exactly the company is hiding. If a crew member killed the girl, it would be a serious blow to Disney's reputation. However, the fact that the company might have hidden or tampered with evidence could lead to a major lawsuit. Unfortunately, 10 years have passed since the girl's disappearance, and no one has yet managed to get the truth from the billion-dollar company. Her parents still hope to find out the truth, no matter how tragic it may be. What do you think happened to the young woman on that fateful morning? And what inconvenient information is Disney hiding? Subscribe to the channel to listen to these real and scary stories. Sometimes these stories end well, but more often badly. It's disturbing.